So what we're going to talk about here is actually people are kind of in a different boat. Okay? I first talked about people who came in with inspection. They got their visa and they got married, and so there aren't many problems. They got married to a U.S. citizen. Here are people that came in without inspection. Now this kind of goes beyond the scope of this seminar, so we're not going to talk about that, but I would say that if you do have this problem, basically crossing the border, coming in somehow without being inspected or getting documents, then this is a special problem that probably needs to be addressed. And last is, you have to make sure that you are eligible to adjust your status in this way that I'm talking about here, because if not, you can actually kind of sound the alarm on yourself. If you start applying in this way and you've committed a crime or you've done something so that you're not eligible to adjust your status, then you actually could get yourself deported. Now we're going to talk about the costs involved. The immigration process can get kind of expensive, and the thing that is so expensive are all the fees associated with the applications, okay? The application fees, and these are fees that go straight to the government, is $1,365, okay? That's the first initial fee. And then later on, the State Department, a few months later after you apply, they charge you $70. And then later on, if you're a married couple that has not been married for a very long time, they want to see if you are a real married couple. And so they will put first a conditional residence on you, not a permanent residence. So a conditional residence. So after 2 years are up or close to your second anniversary of being on that conditional residence, you're going to have to apply again. That costs $540 to remove the conditional residence and become a permanent resident. And then there's a medical exam you have to do. That could be $200 and up. I've included in your packet a list of special doctors in the Utah area who actually do these kinds of exams. And you have to go to one of those people to get this special exam. Then passport photos, you go to Walmart. I really don't know how much it costs, but I just estimate at about $12. And then photocopies. The applications that are needed. So if there's anything that you really need to get out of this seminar is what applications are needed to do this process. Okay. You can find all these applications on the website uscis.gov. So you can see here that there are many applications. The first one is called the I-130. This is the petition for alien relative. This one costs $355. Now what this is basically, this is the form where you actually request, the U.S. citizen requests that the incoming immigrant actually be brought in, and so he's petitioning for his spouse. Now, that one and the next one, I-45, are two of the most important, but they're basically the meat of the whole application, okay? The adjustment of status, the second one, is where you actually are requesting that you get to change your status from what you are now, whether it's a student or something like that, and then changing it to a permanent resident. And that's $1,010 just to fill out that application, okay? Then you need the G325A, which is just a biographic information on both spouses. And so you actually need two of these. No fee on that. Then there's the I-693, the medical examination and vaccination record. This is actually brought to the doctor that I just spoke about earlier, and they fill it out. They put it in an envelope, seal it. You can't open it, but you put it along with this whole application packet. Then the I-765, employment authorization. That's something that I'm sure you're going to want, is the ability or the authorization to work while this whole application process is pending. That's normally $345, but if you're doing it with this whole packet together, because all of these applications go together in one envelope, then it's for free. Okay, you don't have to pay a fee for that one. Then there's a travel document called the I-131. With this one, as I said earlier, if you've overstayed at all, well, if you've overstayed 6 months, a year or more, don't even apply for that travel document. Don't leave the country. And I would even suggest that even if you haven't overstayed, not leaving the country if you can, because all the processes are separated in that when you leave the country and try to come back in, at the border, it's not like they know your application. And so they can get confused and might stop you at the border. So if you can, don't even leave the country at all. But if you really need to, then yes, go ahead and do the travel document. Then there's the affidavit of support. This is where the U.S. citizen spouse is becoming the financial sponsor of the beneficiary immigrant, okay? So basically, the second to last or the last sheet on that packet is the 2010 poverty guidelines that are put out every year. Now, with looking at these guidelines, this is how you can tell how much income the U.S. citizen needs to be the sponsor, the financial sponsor of the incoming immigrant, okay? So for example, if there are only 2 people in the household, the newly arriving immigrant and the U.S. citizen spouse, then if you look on the chart, look on the chart, on the left-hand corner is sponsor's household size, so there are 2 people. The poverty guideline is that basically if you're under $14,570, does everyone see that? If you're under $14,570, they consider you impoverished. And so as a U.S. citizen spouse, you have to make that plus 25% more. So you have to make 125% of that poverty guideline. So you have to make $18,212, okay? If you make that income, then you can bring in or be the sponsor of your new spouse. Then there is the G1145. This is just a nice convenient thing to do. It gives you e-notifications, electronic notifications of your application, and so they give that kind of service to you if you apply for it. Because a lot of times it can get stressful. You send something in, you don't even know if they receive